Hi there. So I finally let people convince me into doing videos about how to grind nibs. Right. I wanted to make this video to discuss some things I think you ought to have to do this. I am not going to be doing this mechanically. If you look around, this is my workspace. Right. Now, if you're wondering to yourself, how the hell does he get anything done? Well, I have to wonder that too. So, to avoid hunting through this stuff and wasting your time, when I do these videos, I'm going to do it from a manual perspective. So you don't have to buy all the equipment I already own. What I'm going to want you to get, bigger sheets than this, is silicon carbide automotive sandpaper. You can go to your local auto repair place or probably even Walmart, and they'll have half sheet selections of 800 to maybe 1200 in like a pack of 6. Don't don't go below 600 grit when you buy these. I suggest the assortment pack, that way you're not spending a whole lot of money to get into this and then decide, I'm not going to do it. I prefer 800 to start out with because it's more controllable and you're not taking off a lot of material all at once. That's why I suggest you don't use diamond plates, because if you're not prepared for it, you're going to do, depending on the grit you're using, one side of an architect in about 4 swipes. If you're not prepared for that, you're going to destroy your nib. So, you can also use aluminum oxide sandpaper. This is 400. I'd be okay starting with 400 with aluminum oxide. The cut is different. When aluminum oxide breaks down, it sort of breaks down powdery into sort of pleasant little chunks. Silicon carbide, on the other hand, shears off into crystal-like shapes. So that's something to be aware of. Ultimately, you'll want to have a series of grits. How far you want to go, that's kind of up to you. I've said before, part of the reason I own all the stuff I do is I used to do jewelry stuff and knife making. I had 80% of what I needed to do set up already. Supplies bought long ago, paid for. So just keep that in mind. 3,000 grit is great. 10,000 grit, up to you. Someone asked me if you can use micro mesh. Answer, absolutely. The micro mesh pads are really great for one thing in particular. If you're doing on a hard surface, something like an architect or stub, that's great. Flat surface is marvelous. But if you're doing a grind where you want to maintain the curvature of the tip, micro mesh is great because it's soft. You can get in there, push, and it's going to keep the curvature of the tipping. Really great. You will also want some lapping film. You can get it on Amazon. You don't have to get 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and 60. This is just, again, what I have sitting here in this mess somewhere, within reach. An absolute necessity is some kind of magnifying device. Otherwise, if you're using a loop, which is fine, you're going to be picking up the loop going, what the hell am I looking at? What the hell am I looking at? What the hell am I looking at? All the time. If you're willing to do that, great, no worries. You will also want, which I don't have, well, yeah, kind of I do, an inked pen around all the time, because you're going to be sticking that nib in, pulling that nib out, sticking the nib in, pulling it out all the time. Maybe you want to get rubber gloves or nitrile gloves, just so you don't leave your workspace, with hands that are funny colors. Unless you want to. Your mileage may vary. You're going to hear your mileage may vary a lot coming from me. You'll also want nibs. Go ahead and use your Yowo's box, what have you. I really suggest going on AliExpress or something and buying, a bunch of Jinhao cheap nibs. Reason for that: if you can grind a Jinhao nib, you can pretty much grind anything because it's starting out small to begin with. That makes doing a double broad falling off a log, right? So this is the supplies video. I don't know when I'm going to get around to doing the actual instructional videos, probably in a couple weeks. There are a couple of things I want to get, namely a better support for the camera than the GorillaPod, and possibly write out some scripts. I know, that's sacrilege, but probably what I'm going to do anyway. So, I'll let everybody know when they're going to happen. In the meantime, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soonish.